Hello everyone and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Ash and today we're taking a look at the finest games you can play on PlayStation 5. Oh, it's all very exciting, isn't it? Since 2020, the PS5 has delivered some astounding games. But which stand out as the best of the best? We've been amicably discussing this in the Access office and agreed we'd only include games that have launched with or after PS5. So, no PS4 games with subsequent PS5 releases, because otherwise this video would last for hours. These are our personal favourites, games you simply have to play whether you've just unwrapped a new PS5 at Christmas or been a proud owner since day one. Please let us know in the comments if your favourite PS5 game is missing. That way the video will be even more helpful for new PS5 owners. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Here we go then, in no particular order, our picks for the top 10 best games on PS5. Video games don't get more epic than God of War Ragnarok, the sequel to the phenomenal 2018 game that introduced us to an introspective and responsible Kratos settled in the lands of Norse myth. That doesn't mean he isn't smashing things up, mind, just that he thinks about it a bit more afterwards. Now that's growth. In Ragnarok, set 3 years after the events of the first game, Kratos and his son Atreus are deep in the throes of Fimbulwinter, a bitter cold snap that heralds the end of the world. Here is where you'll start on one of the most intense, emotional journeys in gaming, where you'll wield legendary weapons to take down powerful gods, explore ancient ruins filled with lost knowledge, and befriend animals of all sizes as you chat it up with an anthropomorphic squirrel. Whilst combat is divine, and nothing feels so good as powering up a frost move and smashing a grim, it is the little moments spent adventuring with your friends that make this really special. It's hard to express just how beautiful this story is, inside and out, really. If there's one game you need to experience on PS5, it is this one. No, really. Go and play it right now. From the end of the world to the dawn of a new one, Horizon Forbidden West is another sequel fresh for PS5 that demands your eyeballs take notice. I mean, it's obviously very beautiful. Just look at it. But take a closer peep with photo mode to zoom in on the finger marks in Aloy's face paint, or the tiny metal fastenings across old world tech to see how granular we're getting with gorgeous details here. A personal favourite is the light reflecting in animals' eyes as they scamper past while you're out exploring, a little glimmer of life that inhabits all the ridiculously beautiful creations of this wild world. Honestly, it is no easy feat pulling yourself away from the lush, dangerous vistas of the Forbidden West. Especially when they're covered in blight you've got to clean up, before taking down machines, and collecting artefacts, and exploring old world ruins. There's loads, okay? The central story of Forbidden West sees Aloy searching for a way to save the Earth, again, from an infectious disease corrupting everything in sight. Just as full of emotional arcs and whiplash-inducing narrative twists as Zero Dawn, Forbidden West somehow expands and improves upon its stunning predecessor. Next, we have The Last of Us Part 1, a full PS5 remake of one of the greatest stories in gaming. In the wake of the cordyceps brain infection, smuggler Joel is hired to transport precious cargo out of a military quarantine zone. Said cargo turns out to be a 14-year-old girl, and she has a secret that could change everything. Ooh. Some of our favourite things to do in The Last of Us Part 1 are stabbing overgrown mushroom men with homemade shivs, and enjoying the slow, satisfying ritual of improving your weapons by clamping on bits of scrap you find littered throughout the world. And yeah, forming a deep emotional bond with Joel and Ellie is pretty good too. Characters we fell even more helplessly in love with on PS5 thanks to the nuanced improvements in facial animation. Look at those eyes! So much feeling! Whether you've been a fan of The Last of Us since the original's 2013 release or are new to the series, The Last of Us Part 1 is a game that demands to be played. It's both harrowing and heartfelt, a human story given extra emotional depth by the immersive power of PS5. Pro tip, just keep some tissues handy. No crying right now though, as we dive seemingly into the PS5 itself with Astro's Playroom. Not only does this game come pre-installed on every PS5, it is a brilliantly inventive platformer that delights and surprises with every clink-clank of Astro's robot feet. A celebration of PlayStation's rich history, an outstanding demonstration of what the DualSense wireless controller can do, and a fun platformer in its own right, it must be some sort of sorcery. Or, just the magical techno-wizardry of the PS5. With everything from platform challenges to speedrun trials, combat encounters to Easter egg hunts, it is impossible to play this brilliant collision of PlayStation past and present without a massive grin on your face. I wouldn't normally advise this, but don't forget to give everything you see a little punch along the way. There are loads of secrets you'll uncover. Astro's Playroom is joy in video game form. And now, if challenge is what you seek, dear Tarnished, then look no further than Elden Ring. The latest in From Software's long line of brutal role-playing games, this is an open world unlike anything you've played before. A land that unravels seemingly forever, taking in war-torn plains, fetid swamps and illuminated forests, all riddled with enemies to fight and dungeons to pillage. Oh, and a surprising amount of severed fingers to pick up, if you're into that sort of thing. What makes Elden Ring so special, however, aside from the classic From Software formula of deep combat, sprawling story, and tough challenge, is its approach to exploration. This is a complex world, one that gives you the freedom to explore its secrets and story. It's up to you to figure out what you're doing, where you're going, and what that weird little thank you rock does, taking any detours that look appealing along the way. That castle on the hill you can see looming in the distance, what if you just went there? There's no quest marker for it, but perhaps you'll discover an ancient treasure or a new boss to figure out. Perhaps you'll discover a portal to another plane entirely. You never know what you'll find in this weird, wretched world, with plenty more lurking beneath the surface if you know where to look for it. If you know, you know. Returnal is next on our list, the enigmatic story of Celine, a woman stranded on an alien planet after crash landing her ship. Celine is trapped in a never-ending cycle that means she returns to a crash ship each time she dies. All weapons lost, all buffs removed, all consumables dropped. The only things you keep are the information gained from each run and key upgrades to Celine's suit, including a badass alien katana. Returnal is many things: roguelike, action shooter, compelling sci-fi mystery, tied together with the glossy presentation and slick, responsive gameplay we've come to expect from developer Housemarque. It's an exercise in resilience, sending you back to the start repeatedly, changing enough to make each run feel like an intrepid adventure, but keeping enough the same to allow gradual mastery over Atomos's challenging environments. With gorgeous visuals, a haunting and award-winning score, plus haptic feedback giving every weapon satisfying weight, Returnal is a uniquely brilliant game. You have got to play it, if only to catch a glimpse of the Lovecraftian horror peering at you through Celine's fractured visions. Space doesn't always have to be a harrowing rumination on life and death, though. Sometimes it's just about really nice bolts, as is the case with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This blockbuster return for PlayStation's iconic platforming duo sees Ratchet & Clank working to stop reality itself from being torn apart, warping between dimensions as rifts open across the universe. In motion, it is one of the most astonishing games we have ever seen. I mean, just check out this bit where you grind down rails in a bleak, abandoned mining rig, then suddenly burst into an alternate dimension full of life and colour. It's that kind of new console moment that had us yelling across the house at confused family members. "Look at this, Dad! Look at this!" Shattered, space-bound rocks give way to a thriving mining community as lava boils underfoot and then snaps back again as you hop between dimensions. Incredible. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is like a fully powered rollercoaster ride from the comfort of your sofa. A perfectly balanced action platformer stuffed with sharp humour, wild set pieces, and a gun that lets you turn bad guys into plants. What more could you want? Now, Ratchet isn't the only furry little guy to make this list, as we have got the adorable Stray charming its way into our hearts and onto our PS5s as one of the finest indie games you can get on your console. Just look at his little paws. Just listen to his little purrs. They come through the controller. Tell me you're not obsessed with how cute this is. Yes, Stray definitely trades on offering the full experience of being a little cat in a big walled city. But it is a brilliantly crafted adventure even without all the opportunities to smack things off shelves and sleep in cozy nooks. Paired with the helpful droid B12, you're tasked with finding a way out of the underground and back to your family, solving environmental puzzles with your wily cat wit along the way. climb to precarious heights, meddle with android citizens, and collect holographic memories of a past life, all while questions of life, death, legacy, and the true nature of artificial intelligence swirl around the edges. It might be known as the cat game, but Stray is so much more. You really have to play it. I'm no expert on racing games, but even I know that Gran Turismo 7 is something special for all the car enthusiasts out there. Or even those that are just car ambivalent. As once you get a look at the polish of this game, both on the cars and in its creation, you'll be geared up for a really good... Oh, no, sorry. I can't commit to that terrible pun. Gran Turismo 7 is no nonsense, and I shan't disrespect it with a worn-out joke. So here's one more deserving of its car grandeur. Gran Turismo 7, more like Gran Turismo 7. This is a game that loves cars and wants you to love them too, immaculately replicating a huge roster of vehicles for impeccably authentic racing. Feel the thrum of the engine through the DualSense wireless controller, hear the race around you with 3D audio, and even take fun photo mode pictures of your car, editing everything from the motion speed to the reflection in a puddle underneath. Gran Turismo 7 is the complete car experience and needs to be in the collection of every PS5 owner. Rounding off our list, we have Demon's Souls, a lavish PS5 remake of the PS3 original that honestly, even 2 years after release, looks outrageously beautiful, in a bleak, grey, everything wants to kill you kind of way. Nothing beats the feeling of exploring this world, the sense of wonder, the constant thrum of tension as you inch forwards, never knowing if something's about to wreck you, the elation when you finally kill that boss you've been struggling with. I could gas on about how beautiful this game is, but you can see that for yourself on screen. So instead, let's celebrate Demon's Souls' wonderful weirdness. I mean, what other game lets you fight a giant manta ray with a lightning sword? Or figure out the precise points to attack a sentient pile of spear-wielding goo? Or feel more terrified of losing hard-won progress than the enemy itself, which is a giant man centipede, and is very scary? There is a joyous mania in Demon's Souls that is hard to capture with words, so I'll leave you with 3 simple ones. Play this game. And there we have it, our picks for the top 10 best PS5 games out there right now. Which is your favourite? Any you haven't played that you're excited to check out? What else would you add to this list? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more PlayStation goodness from the world of access, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.